Hey y'all, today I have some modern farmhouse budget-friendly DIYs for you. Let's get started. I found this little house at the Goodwill store. It was only 99 cents, and what I love about it, for one, it's two-sided. You could do something with both sides, flip it over and change up your decor super easy. So I start by removing the stickers. And then I'm going to go in with my little finger sander, and I'm just going to sand over the front of this just in case this is raised, because when I go to paint it, I don't want the raised portion to show through. This little thing is great for small projects like this. Once we get it sanded down, I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint and the color ink, and I'm just going to carefully go around the edges of the roof first and then just give it a nice even coat. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I like to go in with just a little foam brush and pounce out any of the harsh lines that may have been caused by a brush stroke. Once it's dry, I'm going to take this Iron Orchid Designs Decor stamp and Birds and Bees, and let me tell you, it is so pretty. What I want to do is just cut out the one that I want, and I think what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to use the branch, but I just want the bird on the front. So I start by taping off the section that I want to use. Once I get him taped up, I'm going to go in with this Erasable liquid chalk in white, and it's by Iron Orchid Designs. I'm just going to put a little bit on this cardboard, and then I'm going to take a brayer and I'm going to just rub the paint on, trying to get an even coat. And as I'm looking at this, I see already that I have way too much paint on here. I just slowly and gently push it over the stamp, but I can see already it's way too thick. Now, because I'm a messy Marvin, I'm going to take a paper towel and clean up the tape that I should have been paying attention to. I'll flip him over and lay it down on the house. I want to hold him with one hand and then use my other hand to kind of just gently spread the chalk paint down onto our surface. I think I smushed it down too much as well, which caused, when I picked it up, for it to be not as detailed as I wanted it and super bright. Definitely too much paint. All right, we're just going with it. So now I have these Dollar Tree ribbons, and I'm just going to make a little bow for our house. I cut probably 3 inches and crisscross the two pieces. And then I go on with my next ribbon, and I'm going to cut that up the middle. Now, if you don't like fraying, you're not going to want to cut this kind of ribbon up the middle because it will start to unravel. And I crisscross that. And then I go in with my last ribbon, super cute little farmhouse ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree, and I crisscross that. I'm just going to layer my pieces, and then once I'm happy with it, I'll go in with another piece, put it around the middle, and just tie a little knot. Then I'll fluff him up and trim off his edges. Once I get his edges trimmed, I'm just going to glue this bow down onto the house, and I think it's the perfect tier tray sitter, shelf sitter. It's going to look cute. Okay, now I'm going to take these two Dollar Tree items, the candlestick holder that's in black and this little tray that has the two metal placards on the end, and I'll just remove the stickers and I'll take the little placards off. Once I take those off, I do feel like it's a teeny bit rough, so I go in again with my little finger sander and just sand it down so that it's smooth. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to marry the two together. So I ended up picking up the Tight Bond Quick and Thick, and it is holding. However, I think I should have gone in with some E6000. I did go with the Tight Bond and the hot glue method, but I think if you want it to last longer, just to make sure for a firmer hold, I would definitely go in with some E6000. I even go in after I knew my mistake and I tried to add some more wood glue, some Gorilla Glue Sticks, hot glue. And once I get it all together, I'm going to go in with my Waverly chalk paint and ink, and I'm going to start to paint the whole thing. So I'm painting the base even though it's black because we're going to do a special paint method, and I figured it would work better if it was being over top of chalk paint. So I go in and I give the entire thing a nice thick coat. And honestly, I didn't have to give it 2 coats. There was a couple of areas that I needed to add maybe another coat, just in spots. So now I'm going to take our Elmer's school glue and I'm going to paint a thin layer over the entire piece, not including the center yet, but just the base and the tray itself. And we're going to let that sit for probably 30-45 seconds. We don't want it to completely dry. And once we've let that sit for a little bit, I'm going to go in with this blue cotton apple barrel paint. Now, it is definitely a little brighter than what I thought it was going to be, but we're just going with it. So I'm going to give a nice thin coat over the glue, trying not to go back and forth over it. So I'm just trying to go in one direction, nice and smooth, kind of thin, and do that over the entire thing. And you can already see as it's drying, it's starting to crackle. And that's what I'm wanting it to do. So I do pick up my blow dryer, and I force it to start crackling. You can see right in front of your eyes, it's starting to crackle. It's a super cool method, really inexpensive, and definitely livens up a piece and gives it that aged look that we all like. Now keep in mind, you can do this with any color. You could do it with any base color, any top color. I had even thought about going back and doing it over, but I'm really happy with the way that it's turning out. Okay, now we'll go in and we'll finish up the center. Again, we're going to go in with the Elmer's glue, and I'm sure any school glue would work. We're going to put on a layer. Now, thick layer is probably going to have bigger cracks. Thin layer is going to have thinner cracks. So do a mix of both and then go in, and it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what's so great about this. We want it to look aged. We want it to look, you know, kind of messy. So we just go in and put a messy coat of paint on it and hit it with our blow dryer and get it to dry, and it's all cracked up. And now that it's dry, you can see it turned out really great. Okay, now we're going to start embellishing. I'm going to take this little piece of drop cloth and some stamps that I got from Michael's, and I want to spell out home, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bird's nest in the top. So I kind of get them laid out, and I cut the drop cloth to the size that I need it. And once I get it to the right size, then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to start pulling off the edges to give it a frayed look. Now I'm going to go in with some black ink and just transfer over the word home. I stamped it once and I didn't like the way it looked. I got a little overhang on the letter O, so I flipped it over and I'm just going to start again. I'm using my Iron Orchid Designs black ink, but you can certainly use any black ink. Now I'm just going to line it up and take some hot glue and just put that on the front of my little birdhouse. Not that way. Now that we've got that straight, now I'm going to take this little bird's nest that I got from Amazon. It was a pack of 3 and I'll list it below. And I'm just kind of squishing it so that I can fit it inside of this little tray. Okay, so now we're going to start taking some greenery and we're just going to start pushing it down into the crevices of our little bird's nest. Now you can certainly glue this in, but as a crafter, you know that we like to change things up. We like to rekindle things. We want to make things over. So I'm trying not to use the hot glue and just getting it to stick just inside. I think it provides the temporary hold that we need it to. Okay, so when I came across this tin at the Goodwill and it was 99 cents, I knew, okay, I need this and I'm going to do something awesome with it. So I get it home and I get it cleaned up, and then I just take it outside with the rest of my pieces and I spray it with the matte Rust-Oleum white spray paint. Now I'm going to take our Village Market IOD mold and I'm going to cast the wheat and the cow. Anytime we're using our molds, we just want to go in and give it a nice light brush of cornstarch. What this will do is it's going to help our clay release easier from our mold. Now I'm working with some older clay, so you'll see me really trying to work this as it's getting a little too dry. I'm going to start by pressing my clay into my mold, paying attention to all of the details. I'm trying to clean it up as I go because there's a lot of smaller details towards the bottom of the cow. So now I'm going to take my spackle knife and I'm just going to go around the entire edge of the mold and clean up the additional clay that's hanging over the micro edge. Once I get that cleaned up, I'll start to peel it back. I probably should have started from the smaller part first, but I didn't, and it did seem a little weaker at the bottom when I did this, so maybe I'll start opposite the next time. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to make some castings of the wheat as well. I do go in and I make several castings just in case I need them, but I only ended up using 2. As you can see, I'm really trying to be careful because that little wheat, where the wheat is tied together, that little teeny piece at the bottom was really hard to get out. Now we're going to take our cow and we're just going to take some Titebond Quick and Thick and put a thin layer over the entire thing, making sure that we get around to all his little legs and tail so that those stick down well enough. I'm just gently pressing against the mold, trying to reposition his little legs and his tail. And then I go in and I also glue down the little wheat pieces on each of the sides. Now this will be the time, if you get it down and you don't like exactly where it is, just gently pull it up or kind of push it over without stretching the clay. Now I'm going to take some masking tape or painter's tape and I'm just going to tape the 2 wooden handles to the can itself or the tin itself. That way it stays out of the way when I go to paint it. I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink again, and I'm just being careful around the top because I want the rim to stay white and the rest of it I'm going to paint black. And again, I'm going in with my little sponge and I'm just dabbing and smoothing out any of the brush strokes. Now I'm going to take a small paintbrush and I'm going to go around and over top of all of the details of the castings that we glued on. That way I can make sure I get in every little nook and cranny. As I continually try to grow my channel, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment below. I will really appreciate it. Once I get that completely painted, I'm just kind of going around and making sure that I haven't missed anything or I need to touch anything up. Now I'm going to take this classic home wax in the color antique, and I found these little wooden pieces that look like legs. I think they're called vases. I'll link them below. And I'm going to take this antique wax and I'm going to paint them with a nice thick coat. And then I'm going to go in with a paper towel and I'm going to wipe them back. And it looks just like stain. They turned out really, really well. I repeat the steps for all 4 pieces and then we have our legs. Now, I made a boo-boo and I don't know how I did it, but I missed gluing on the legs and I missed dry brushing the molds. So I'm just kind of showing you here what I did. I took some paint and I squirted it down on a paper towel. It's Waverly chalk paint in white. And I put my brush in it and I brushed it on a piece of drop cloth until nothing came off. Then I went over top of the details very lightly with a dry brush and just gently, like I said, go over top of each of the pieces. And I'm showing you that I also glued on the legs with some E6000 glue. And here we are all finished. I am really proud of these. They are so budget friendly. They could be made to any decor style. It doesn't have to be farmhouse. You could definitely do flowers. You could do something lighter in color. I hope I've inspired you today to make the things that make your heart happy, as these have made mine. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.